Today I have a cool tool that's going to help me organize my fabric stash even better than it is already. During my epic Clean Reorganize 2024 project that I'm sharing with you during FabFit Fridays, I pulled out all of my fabrics and I piled them up and I shared them with you. And then I shared how I was going to organize them. One of the things that I had to do was clean out my closet. Then I was able to put back fabrics on the shelves in my closet. I also categorized and stored some fabrics in plastic tubs across the hall. I thought I was done with fabric, but one of my followers suggested to me that I might need a cool tool to help me organize better. So today I am sharing Kylie and the Machine's Fabric ID tape with you. I want to show you what this tape is all about. I'm going to just use my handy dandy stiletto to get it started. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel off one label, because the first thing we're going to do is a pen test on what's the best thing to mark on here with. And I'm going to cut it off. And then before I put it away, I'm just going to fold one corner under ever so slightly right there. And then that way, when I go to get it the next time, I have a corner to pick it from. All right, so that's how I'm going to make it easy to get it off on the next label that I need. The instructions on the label say use a permanent marker, a ballpoint pen, or a pencil. Those all in fact work well, except for the pencil. So the pencil, I'm just going to draw over here a little bit, and then I'm going to rub it with my finger, and you're going to see that it smudges, and then that pencil can transfer to the fabric that might be piled on top of it. So I'm not a pencil fan for this. I also tried for fun a gel pen. Now the gel pen has the same problem. Look at how it gets all smudgy. All right, so personally, I would use either a ballpoint or a Sharpie. Now the thing about a Sharpie or other permanent marker is you need a fine tip. So these are the fine tips, and when they're new, they are fine, but then after you use them for a little bit, they start to get very fat. It's hard to write a lot of things small and neatly. But you can see this is a brand new Sharpie, and you can see the nice thin line I get. Plus, if I rub my finger on this side of the label, it's not going to smudge. It's going to stay nice and permanent, and it's not going to transfer to your fabric. So I'm going to be working with a Sharpie marker for this. Let's get another label and let's see if my trick worked. So see, I can just very easily pick my next label out. So I'm going to cut that. And then again, I'm just going to turn the corner down ever so slightly. It doesn't need to be a lot, just enough to create a pick for the next time you want to get a label. And let's start by using it in a traditional sense, meaning I've already folded and measured a couple pieces of fabric. I'm going to show you two ways to use these labels. This is a silk chiffon kimono. I chose this fabric to work with for this tutorial because it's a very sheer, delicate fabric. So I want to test how it sticks onto a sheer fabric. Does it damage the fabric? I'm also going to test and see if the Sharpie marker bleeds through the label. So we're going to do all the brave things using this silk charmeuse. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick it on. Now you want to stick it somewhere near the edge or salvage. It is fabric safe, and I think, now I don't have extensive experience with this tape yet, but I'm assuming that the stickiness of the label will not mar the surface of the fabric because it's fabric safe. But just to be extra safe, I'm going to put my label really close to my salvage edge like this. Okay, so there it is. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to smooch the fabric around so I can draw on this. I'm going to be looking for a few different things here. The first thing is I'm going to write all the pertinent information. So this is silk, chiffon, and you can see my beautiful handwriting there. Then I'm going to mark how big it is. Now I measured this. It is 45 inches wide by 4 3/4 yard long. And this was a gift from a student. So I'm just going to write gift from student. And that jogs my memory, you know, and all I have to do is write that little note. And I remember the day that one of my students gave me this kimono when I used to teach at Sanford Brown College in the fashion department. So I've got that marked. And then in the notes, I'm going to write, it's a kimono. And I'm going to repurpose silk. So I know I'm going to use this to upcycle or recycle or reuse, which I'm excited about. And then, was this pre-washed? Now, this was a kimono that my student's mother actually wore. I'm going to click yes on pre-wash. And now I've got all the pertinent information right on here. So if I pull it out, I'll know exactly what I'm looking at. I'll know exactly how big it is. I'll know what fiber it is and a little more information about that. So let's now check and see if it comes off this delicate fabric nicely. I'm going to use the little corner I turned under to pull it off. And you can see it comes off very nicely. There's nothing on the fabric. So I'm pretty pleased with that. After I pulled it off, I can still stick it right back on. So see, it stays nicely even though I pulled it off and put it back on. So now this fabric is ready to be stored in its bin. And I'm mentioning that because all of the fabrics that I'm going to be storing in a bin, I'm going to put the labels flat like this because I'll have to pull things out to look for things. So these are all going to be face up in my bins. Now, fabrics that I'm storing in my shelves, I'm going to treat a little bit differently. I'm loving already my turn the corner idea under because it's making it easy for me to grab stuff here. So again, I'm just going to turn my corner. I'm going to leave this one on the table for right now because I'm going to write on it right here on the table. All right, so this is linen, and I'll put 100% linen. Okay, the width is 58 inches, and I have 2 yards of it. It's sourced from Wool House. I think it's fun if you purchase fabrics from a certain fabric store, you can just label that. So, Wool House. Okay, is this fabric pre-washed? Not yet, so I'm going to select no. And then in the notes, I'm just going to write that this is actually Irish linen. The other thing I'm going to use my notes for is I'm going to mark down here the $4 sign symbols, meaning it was expensive fabric. It was $40 a yard. And actually, I guess I could just put 40 there, you know, if I want to keep exact count. But if something's super special or costs a lot of money, I obviously don't want to use it until I have a tried and true pattern ready to go for the fabric. That's going to remind me not to just cut into this and use it on something that I'm not sure about. So now that I've got all the information, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off the table. And I'm just going to stick it on like when you stick on luggage tags for your checked baggage. I'm going to stick it on to the salvage edge in the front, right onto itself. And if I start up at the fold like this and then just roll it down, then even though it's not 100% square, I'll be able to see all the information. And the cool thing is now I can see it from the front. Okay, so there's my linen, and then I can flip it over and see the rest of the information right there. So that is the way I'm going to store my fabrics that I have on the shelf, and all of these little labels are going to be sticking out in front, so I don't have to lift up fabrics or rummage through them to find what I'm looking for. I'll have the information right at my fingertips. I'm going to use these labels for one other purpose. I have a lot of fit muslins. I always make a new muslin based on the fabric I'm working with. So if I'm working with a fabric that's more loosely woven like linen, I want to see what it's going to do, especially if the last pair of pants that I made was a tightly woven twill. So I have all of these muslins, and these labels are going to be perfect for me to keep track of what's going on. So for example, I'm going to use the fiber space to mark the fabric that I was working with when I made the final pair for this muslin. So this was a cotton twill, and in the width and length, I'm just going to put the date. So this was 10/23, and then the source is going to be the pattern I was working with. So I have my Sorsha pants, I'll just put. And then in the notes, I'm going to put the pertinent things that I did to this pattern to make it different from others. So the important thing for this pattern was I raised the front crotch. Now I can stick this onto my muslin, and if I work with it again, I can pull it out and I can remember, oh, I made those, cotton twill pants. I remember fussing around and raising the front crotch. And then if I want to try to do anything else with it, I can. And also, if I need to add more information, I could add a second label, or I can actually throw this label away and replace it with a label if the information changes and I don't need this initial note. So I am kind of excited to use these for my muslins, because the sheer act of saying to myself, all right, I've got these cool labels that I can use to keep track of my stuff. It can just be part of my process now to create these labels, and then they're on there and I have them. Very excited about this. Kylie and the Machines fabric ID tape. I ran over to her website to order it, but she's in Australia. So here in the United States, shipping was really expensive. Plus it would have taken a long time to get here. So I did find it on Amazon. So if you check the description below for my Amazon affiliate link, free 2-day shipping. It was a good deal to get it there, and I got it there fast because I couldn't wait to share it with you. If you're enjoying cool tools, please like the video and then subscribe to my channel. Did you know that I've gotten emails from people who follow along with me wondering when the next episode is going to go live or when I'm live streaming? If you click the bell when you subscribe, then you'll get notifications that will tell you when something new is available. And I will really appreciate that as well. If you have any questions or comments about Kylie and the Machines fabric ID tape, please post those below. I personally know that I am absolutely loving it already, and I can't wait to use it to organize all of my fabrics when I have my grand tour of my newly organized and clean studio. I'll show you how all those labels are working for me in my closet. I'm very excited. So thank you guys for watching, and have a lovely rest of your day.